Hello.
How are you? I want to hear from you this time.
I'm good. I'm good. I just started listening to Mariah Carey recently. I'm officially a stan.
Oh
You'd
man.
think I would already be one because I'm gay, but surprise, I wasn't. I just recently kind of like started delving into her music. That's been like my week, kind of. It's very interesting.
I used to be kind of a fan of her, I think in middle school. I liked the really moody love songs because I thought I was so deep back then.
Mhm.
But I have an issue with her face, and I know that sounds rude, but I just don't know what's happening with her face. Like, she looks really happy all the time, but she also looks really mean. And I'm like, am I just judging her incorrectly? I don't know.
No, I totally get what you mean. Like she just has a very shady expression, but she's always
Yes.
also smiling, so it's kind of like cognitive dissonance.
You know what else? I think it's because her face is like a meme. I think it's a meme. I can like picture it, but I don't know what it is.
It could be that too. Um, yeah, yeah. So I guess as of like a week ago, you could have said, like I could have said, Mariah Carey, I don't know her, but today I know her.
You know
So
her, and you're
yes,
changed for it.
I am.
Amazing.
Um, Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome to Scary Talk episode 13. We're going to be spooking you today, so get ready for that. Buckle your seatbelt. But first, remember that if you want to get notified every time we upload something to our RSS feed, whether you're listening through Apple Podcasts or Spotify or SoundCloud or any other platform, you can subscribe on any of those platforms to us to receive notifications every time we upload. So go ahead and do that. We have the link to our Apple Podcast page on our Twitter at TalkScary, and we upload every Monday night. Very late Monday night, by the way. It's more like Tuesday morning, but technically it isn't. So,
We're on
um,
episode 13, and 13 is like a pretty spooky number, and we opened it by talking about
yeah.
Mariah Carey. So,
I mean, you said she scared you,
she
so
kind of does. Just a little bit. Oh, I also have really good news. I'm a week late, but I'm wearing my UFO socks. So, I'm in
oh.
spirit at least for last week.
That's good. Well, for all we know, what we're going to talk about today could be extraterrestrial. So,
Oh.
you know,
Ooh.
um, but you know what? Let's get into that. Let's get into this.
All right. Are you going
I
to start
I
off?
I'd love for you to start off.
Oh.
Last time it was really good. I just like I don't know. I feel like I'm in the vibe in the zone to like really hear something and like spook myself out. So
All
you
right.
take it.
I would love to spook you out. That's one of my favorite things to do. Like, this podcast only exists because I like to freak Andre out. Sometimes convince you that things are real. It's really easy to do that.
Then I can't sleep at night. Like, what kind of a friend is that?
You
Am I
know I have
right?
sleeping problems. And I'm not scared. All right, it's fine. So, what are we talking about today, Andre?
Today we are talking about shadow people, shadow persons. Um, this is a topic that we came to. I suggested it, but you seem very interested, so I did want us to go with it because I felt like you're gonna come
Ooh.
up with something good, and it seems like you did. I'm excited to hear it. But yeah, shadow people. Um, do you want to give us the breakdown of the basic definition? What people think this is?
So, I want to start off with a quote from an author who I'm going to be talking about a lot in terms of shadow people. She studies them, basically. Her name's Heidi Hollis, and she says,
Huh.
shadow people have been around since the beginning of time and are a dark influence upon society. Like, while that doesn't give you the full scope of what they are, it kind of gives an idea of what
Yeah.
their intent is. And so, if
Hmm.
these shadow people have been around since the beginning of time, well, first of all, what are they? And that's kind of a point of contention. Basically, if you see a shadow, mostly at night, and it looks in the shape of a person, that's kind of what we're talking about when we say shadow people. However, there are many distinctions. Some people say that they have like eyes, or like they're wearing clothes, or that they're ghostly. Some say that they're not ghostly, they're more opaque. But
Hmm.
and some of them don't think that they're malicious at all. Some people just see them. And so I think shadow people, whether it's real or not, the most reasonable explanation behind them is something called sleep paralysis, which I think we've talked about this before, I'm sure.
Yes, except what I'm gonna
Yeah.
talk about, there's like photo proof, so that yeah.
Oh, I love some proof. Yeah, so most people think it's just sleep paralysis when you wake up and you're still in that mode of sleep where your body's paralyzed
Uh-huh.
and you kind of hallucinate and see something.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to just everything could possibly be a hallucination,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they could be. But then Heidi Hollis is over here saying, no, these things are evil and they are coming for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's that's kind of my understanding of shadow people. I think there are different kinds. Like I think people can see multiples, and I don't know. Like we can get into the theories later, but are you ready
Yeah.
for my
Yeah.
case?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to hear it.
All right, all right. Hopefully, I was good at explaining that. That was a
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to be talking about something that may be familiar in some of your people's in some of your hearts. Because this is a very common image. I mean, the shadow person alone, I think, is fairly common because we want to see things like we see something in the dark, we want to make something of it, but this is really specific. And it is the Hat Man. So that sounds very like not scary at all. Like it's a guy in a hat. Yes, it is. It's a man in a
At
hat.
least it's not a cat in a hat. Now that'd be
It is
terrifying.
not a cat in a hat. That is actually more scary in my opinion than anything. Like that guy just comes to your house, talks to your kids, and like starts breaking stuff. Like, oh my god, get some security. Like, all right. So the Hat Man is this. Well, obviously it's a phenomenon where people think they see a shadowy man in a top hat. It's not always a top hat. Sometimes it's a cowboy hat or it's like a cavalier type hat, musketeer.
Mm-hmm.
But the general like consensus is that he's tall and he's shadowy. You can't see his face really, but if you do see his face, he's smiling. And
Ew.
another interpretation or vision of him, he has glowing red eyes, which I think is fascinating because we've already covered like not monsters but things that have red eyes, like the Mothman. He had glowing red eyes. You know, I don't really
Yeah.
believe in him, but what if he was just the Hat Man? I can get on board for that.
Mm. We'll talk about that later.
I know Hat Man doesn't fly. I don't think so. So according to Hollis, the Hat Man is very different from regular shadow people. I mean, I'll get into the reasons later, but for one, he's wearing clothes, which I think is an important distinction because oftentimes when I think of shadow people, I just think of it's just like this mirage or like this like ghostly being, but this is a man in like a long black trench coat, some people say, eyes glowing red. And this is also kind of interesting to me. He carries a gold watch attached to a chain, which only a few people have said that, but enough to where it's like it could possibly be the same thing they're seeing. And then he's at least 6 feet tall, almost going as high as 10 feet to some witnesses. And here's something that's a little bit haunting. He's seen floating, not
Ooh.
like high, but just a little bit off the ground. That's like how he
I
moves.
don't like this.
Yeah.
This is scaring me.
So like if you see a dude floating towards you in a long black trench coat and a hat, be scared. And I want to also point out that this image has been used in television before. I don't know if anyone here has seen The Haunting of Hill House, but he's definitely an apparition on that. And I read that he's on Westworld. I've never seen Westworld, but potentially, yeah. And so here's where it gets even creepier. He's mostly sighted in basements, and
Ew.
that's one of the main reasons that Hollis.
Who the fuck is sleeping in their basement?
I know exactly. That Hollis says it's different from shadow people is because most of the sightings are in the basement, and then the other ones, it's he's watching you sleep, towering over you in your bed. And there's almost always like carried with this vision like a very like strong sense of fear, almost like a manifestation of negative energy.
Yeah, you think you'd be scared?
Yeah, but I guess it's kind of more like it surrounds him. But I mean, I guess that's up for debate because you're right. Like that makes sense. But it just gets weirder and weirder. So he whispers ominous warnings to his victims and speaks in riddles.
Okay. This is like another
Yeah.
dimension. None of my shadow people talk. Um.
Right. Yeah. like this is why I was so intrigued by this, is because it's so strange and it's so scary. But also, it's like if I feel like there's a point where it gets to like it's in the basement. Like he has this nice little gold watch and all this stuff that's just like, why is it so much scarier than everything else? Like I feel like to a degree, like that type of fantasticalness makes it seem less real,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
No.
So, other people have noted that he would jump on their chest and immediately start to choke you, which
Ugh.
is kind of a symptom of sleep paralysis. People feel like they can't breathe
I have
and
heard
that they're
that.
being choked.
Yes.
Yeah. I was thinking with the hat and with the watch and with the like speaking in riddles, I was thinking maybe this is like a personification of death in our reality. And I mean, just the Reaper, that type of death. And the reason I say this is because
Uh,
Hollis says that when people see him, it's often in times of turmoil during their lives, kind of like how the doppelgangers would appear when as like a omen, but it's kind of the opposite in this way. It's when you're already experiencing troubles, he
uh-huh.
appears and brings with him like the negative stuff. Do you have thoughts?
He appears to he appears to let you know that you're in trouble, as if you didn't know already.
I know exactly. He appears when you're at your weakest points apparently and then just wants to screw with you.
You know, I'm thinking of something so interesting. I'm thinking that, like, okay, I was thinking, I think this is real, but let's say it's just sleep paralysis. Um, it's still super interesting to think about why it appears, even if it's just sleep paralysis and it's just in people's head, why it appears the same way to so many people.
Right.
Like, do you think there's something in the like cultural, like the shared
Like the
zeitgeist or like
collective
the beehive or
unconsciousness,
whatever?
yeah.
Yeah, the collective unconscious about like a man on a top hat that means something ominous. Like that's interesting to think about.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I think is interesting. Like, and that's kind of why I think that it could be death. Is like maybe for us, like, our, I mean, everyone has that image of the Reaper wearing like the cloak and like carrying the scythe or whatever. But
Hmm.
also, like, I don't know, there's something just so like foreboding about someone carrying a watch and just watching you in this like hat and this mysterious trench coat. Like, I feel like that is scary in its own way,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure where that would have come from in our time. Like when did that start
that's
occurring that we were
that's what
scared?
makes it spooky for me. That I understand why we would relate the appearance of the Grim Reaper to something deadly. Like it's meant to look that way, but a man on a top hat, like you can make that sound scary when you know with a watch, like you can make that
Yeah.
sound scary, but objectively it doesn't really like transmit that message. And I'm just wondering if there's like something weird going on there, like
Yeah.
I don't know, clearly it does transmit that message.
Right, exactly.
I just like to know like who put that in the collective
Yeah, who
unconscious.
started it? And the floating is really weird too. Like that's ominous. Like that reminds me of on
Hmm.
Buffy, there's an episode called Hush where all the demons are wearing these black suits and they look very they're called the gentlemen and they're
Hmm.
floating like a foot off the ground and it's just so haunting because it's like they're not ghosts.
Ooh, okay. Total like side note, by the way, I never been a Sarah Michelle Gellar stan, but recently I saw Cruel Intentions. I saw it on theaters because
Oh
it was the
my
20th
god.
anniversary, and
Yes.
holy shit, that's one good movie.
Oh my god. Yes, it's phenomenal. I was just thinking about this movie the other day. It's so good.
Yeah, they put it out there because it's 20th anniversary, and I thought that was so cool, and it was so 90s, and I just loved
Oh
it.
yeah, I live for the
Um,
90s.
but it also was like R. It was like a teen movie, but it was also R rated, and
It
I
was
was like,
so inappropriate.
ooh, like I know, so inappropriate. What was I gonna say? The last little side note is, did you know that Reese Witherspoon actually married the guy?
Ryan Felipe? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they were married for a long time. That's crazy. Apparently, they already knew each other before they filmed, so that was really interesting to me. Anyway, back to back to Shadow People. Go ahead.
I don't know. I could talk about Sarah Michelle Gellar forever because she's amazing and
I
she's
mean,
my
we could
hero.
make it
So
scary. You know, she
whatever.
was in The Grudge 1 and 2, and damn, The Grudge 1 especially was really good and really scary.
That was pretty
Yes.
scary. That's
So
true.
anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have to stop myself because I'm crazy. So one other thing that's kind of interesting is that a German soldier told Haile Hollis that he asked the Hat Man who he was, and the Hat Man responded, "Scratch." And apparently, scratch is another word for the devil. So, we come back to the devil again.
Mm, I hate this. I'm actually like a little bit spooked.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I I record this in my bedroom and like the lights are on, but like I don't know. My bedroom's quiet. The door is closed. I'm facing my window, so I can't see behind me to my door.
yeah, but he can
I don't
see
know. I
you.
don't like it. Fuck you.
All right, and the Hat Man has been seen all over the world, which is also interesting if we're thinking about the collective unconsciousness, what transcends
Hmm.
cultures and what they view as scary and evil. And another thing is,
Hmm.
many first saw him when they were children, and then they were frequently visited by him thereafter. One theory is that because he comes to you when you're in a bad time in your life, is that maybe he's feeding off of your fear and your pain to survive. And I want to
Hmm.
read you, this is from a comment on Reddit about the Hat Man. This is from a user called Their Eyes Upon You. Um, this is a this is a really interesting one. This person, I think it might be a girl, I'm not sure. This person had a experience, an encounter with the Hat Man, and so I'm just gonna read you kind of like from the quote and a little bit paraphrase.
Okay.
So I saw him at 18 years old in my room after a particularly traumatic experience. I woke up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. They started speaking a language that they've never heard to a young girl in a dress. And then it says, I couldn't make out her features, but I could make out her eyes and her mouth, which could only be described as sharp looking like a human piranha. She was whispering something in my ear. And then this person was surrounded by other figures in the
Oh my
room,
god.
and then a tall man in a wide brimmed hat.
I
And each time this person responded in the strange language, the man in the hat looked, and I quote,
I
delighted.
hate that. I hate that.
And the user said that this interaction felt very familiar. During her research, she discovered someone else reporting an almost identical experience being surrounded by shadow people and the tall man in the hat and conveying like a different language. That's just, yeah. I wanted to share that because that's so scary. I I am so intrigued by the whole different language thing. Like, it's possible it was like not even a language, because if you're in this like dream state and you're not even fully awake, like you could be like imagining something. But what if it was a real language? Like, what if it was like Latin or
Well,
something?
again, I feel like you're still like assuming that this is all part of sleep paralysis. I am not even in that realm anymore. I'm thinking this is all real. I'm just trying to decide what it is, but I don't think this is
Right.
sleep paralysis at all.
So what is it?
It's either the devil, what I'm gonna talk about, which is people from other dimension,
Okay.
or aliens, because it's always either something or
Yeah,
aliens.
I also read that people who saw shadow people had been, well, not all of them, but some of them had been abducted or had seen UFOs before, and so that there could be a connection there. But
What made me think that it could be aliens is that you said that once they're visited, they keep visiting, and that reminds me a lot of people who are abducted by aliens and then they get routine visits for the rest of their
oh,
life. Um, the devil, well, because you said the scratch thing, I can't dismiss that, and the other dimension thing, I think that it could be that because of what I'm
okay,
going to talk about. But anyway,
interesting.
keep going.
Um, just like a total random tangent, I also read that some people use DMT to encounter shadow people, which people use DMT to encounter a lot of things, but I don't know, just worth bringing up just in case anything applies there. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
and for anyone
Okay.
who doesn't know, DMT is this crazy, like the most mind altering drug that you could possibly take ever in your entire life, like more intense than meth. So,
Yeah.
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 But yeah, so that's my case. The Hat Man. I find it pretty interesting and also pretty scary. But
Oh, okay. Wait, one tangent after you said the drug thing. I remember reading about this hallucinogenic drug. It was like LSD's cousin, and it is like relatively new, and a lot of people were doing it. I don't remember what it's called, but it was way stronger than LSD, right? And a lot of people were doing it, and there was this like Reddit thread about it. I read this a couple years ago. For the life of me, I can't remember what it was called, but this person said that they took the drug, this one Reddit user, and that it felt like
Hmm.
it completely opened his mind, like he was a different person. He said that as soon as he took it, he heard a voice say, "We're so glad you found us."
Oh my
And
god.
I can't. I read that and like I shut my pants. It just scares me so much. I don't know why. Um, can you imagine?
just the sheer like power of that one sentence is insane because it can mean
I
so many
know.
things.
Like, I feel like I'm gonna like pee my pants.
What does that
It's just
mean?
I just I just hate it. Like I I don't know. Like the tangent could become like a sub tangent because I have so many thoughts about that. But I don't know. I don't know. Like whatever. Anyway, back to Shadow People. Um that was very interesting. I liked your case. It's really interesting to me because I was gonna go with like it's either all sleep paralysis or it's all interdimensional beings. But when you brought up some of the things that you brought up, now it's brought into the like into the forefront the thought that it could be aliens and it could be the devil. And now we have to decide. So that makes this interesting. I'd like to settle on something by the end of the episode. So
Yeah, I agree. I even if that person's Reddit post was a lie, like I'm just gonna assume it's not because I find like it just adds so much more to the like context of what we're talking about. Like,
mhm,
what was that language? Was it an alien language? Was it a demonic language? Like, I don't know. I'm very
mhm.
intrigued.
Yeah. Yeah, I just
All
okay.
right.
Okay. So I have also just like the phenomenon of shadow people in general. But I have two specific. That's the thing. These are two cases, but they're not really documented, at least on the internet, as legitimate cases. Rather, they are email correspondence that was sent back and forth between this editor of a web page that focuses on archives of shadow people and a couple of users that submitted their stories. Then the editor replied, I want more details. And then the people replied again and provided pictures. So um, this is not a blog post, rather an email conversation that was posted on this page about shadow people. Two email conversations from two different cases. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So the first one, and it's really interesting because like you can see like the person who sent it, when the email is written like a regular email, like the misspellings, like you can tell it was, I don't know, I think this is real. Also the photos, when you like source them back on Google Images, the earliest place you can find these pictures is in this website.
Okay.
That seems to be the source. They're from like 2011 and 2014. So that's what like gets me. So okay, shadow people. Like Shannon explained, they are the shadowy beings. I'm gonna be describing some pictures during these cases. Um, so the first case is called "Caught on Camera," and it is this. I'm not just gonna read the email. I'm gonna try to summarize. It's this man. His name is Billy, and he says that he's always bumped into shadows ever since he's moved into his new home. And this was sent to this website, and the submission is from August 30th, 2011. In the email, Billy describes how everyone always laughed at him, like his family, for claiming that he saw shadows until one Thanksgiving, his daughter took a picture of her boyfriend, the daughter's boyfriend, and when the daughter showed Billy the picture, she said, "What is that, Dad?" And in the photograph, you could see this tall, like black, perfect shadow of a man with smoke coming out of his head that was swirling and like went up to the ceiling.
Oh,
So
that's so
I
crazy.
can't. I literally cannot. So like little whatever her name was, little Cecilia, like takes a picture of Bay. Nothing's there but Bay. The picture like reveal. I guess I'm guessing this was a Polaroid. Reveals itself, and there's this fucking like man standing behind his boyfriend with his head like swirling up to the ceiling like it's fucking smoke from a fire. So there's that. Billy says that he told his daughter in that moment that that was the shadow man that he had been seeing in his new home. And since then, now they all believe him. Again, this is an email, so this is being recounted in present time. He
Hmm.
says things like, now they all believe me.
Yeah.
So like this is recent to him when he wrote that back in 2011, right? Um I'm just like recounting it in past tense. Anyway, he says that he like felt compelled to share his story and like submit this because he saw on this page that a lot of people submitted their stories too, and that they were all very similar, and he felt like he could find like a community there. And I just think that's like so sad that like you I don't know that like you become like involved in this world. That's terrible. I'd never want to see a shadow person. Like I would never want to have to like seek solace in a group of strangers online that have shared this experience, because my experience is just like so bizarre that there's only like a couple of people on the internet that have had it. Like there's not a lot of submissions in this page actually from what I saw. Anyway, that was really interesting. So here's the thing. He asked for help on how to get rid of them, or if people know more about it, he asks people to like reply to him. And he also mentions, this is very important to note, that he thinks that the shadow people, he describes them as darker than dark, and you can feel them watching you
Hmm.
even when you're not watching them. He also notes, however, that they don't necessarily like being seen, and also that they can be seen outside, like in the sunshine outside. That was pretty crazy to me. They could definitely be seen in the daylight. I know because the picture that it shows
Hmm.
here, that picture that the daughter took, was during the day, but apparently you can see them outside, like outdoors. So now, someone replies to this guy's email 2 years later. It's Billy's wife. And the reply is also posted on the page, right? And she says, sorry, that a lot of strange things have happened since the picture, that her husband Billy became like distant, and he'd always insist that people were breaking into the house, but obviously no one was breaking in. It was a shadow person. The wife didn't necessarily believe him
Hmm.
though, until like now, I guess 2 years later, that she's submitting this email saying, I believe my husband now. She says that she's felt so much fear though, like around Billy and just in the house in general in the past 2 years, because well, things have been turbulent basically. And she says that like if she falls asleep, sometimes she'd like she would wake up scared to death. She didn't know exactly why, but she'd always be like in this panicky mode. And what I thought was like, well, yeah, if you're surrounded by these fucking
Hmm.
things, like you said, right, like they emit fear. So
Yeah.
she says that finally one day she did catch on to what Billy was talking about, and I'm like, yeah, no shit. Apparently, she saw this shadow man that was in Billy and her's home, climb the walls, swing on the ceiling fan, um, and sometimes it was just like a black spot in the wall that like wouldn't, like it would just like stay there all night, and she'd like be too paralyzed to move and do anything about it. Like yeah, like Billy would be able to fall asleep, but she wouldn't. She'd lay awake for hours. Once she talked to it, she said, can you please leave? It didn't say anything back. That's scary to me. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, just like that she spoke to it. Yeah, she says that one night she saw this shadow touch her husband's shoulder and then touch him several times on the head. And every time the shadow touched him, Billy would grunt. But like Billy would have like its back to her wife and to the shadow, so only the wife could see that the shadow was doing that, and she was like too paralyzed to tell her husband anything, so she would just like see it happen and she would see like how every time that the shadow touched Billy on his head, like would pat him, Billy would just like grunt. So like even though this thing has no physical form, like no solid physical form, like Billy can still feel
Yeah.
something, obviously. That's fucking crazy. So well, I guess it's not, since like people claim to be choked by the
Right.
top hat man. So um she says that she thought she was losing her mind, but she came to like change her stance on it, and she doesn't think she's losing her mind anymore. She believes her husband, and she thinks that the boogeyman is real now. She says that one day her aunt and her went somewhere, and when they came back and were getting things out of the trunk, um, someone said, "Where are y'all going?" And she replied, "Nowhere. We just got back." They turn around to see who it was, and there was no one. They thought it was a neighbor, but there was no one there.
Oh my
Her aunt
god.
won't come over anymore. I know. I just that was the saddest part of that email. Like apparently, like she was actually being like not ostracized, but like her family was coming distant from her, and I
Yeah.
don't know if you can really blame the family because they were scared. Um, so like one of the last things she mentions in this email, Billy's wife, is that one night she was dreaming that she was fighting two dark beings, and her back hurt for a few days afterwards until eventually she asked her daughter to look and see if there was anything on her back because it really hurt. The daughter looked and said, "Yeah, mom, no shit. Like you have a big ass bruise on your back." She looked in the mirror, and indeed she did, and she says that there's like no way she could have hurt herself that badly and not have felt it. And yeah, obviously. Um, so yeah, and eventually they ended up moving. They ended up moving from that house. And she says that they haven't seen this thing in 6 months, which makes me think that maybe these things are tethered to the home. Um, but she says that she has heard that these things come back, so she's scared. And that she's gotten emails from people. This is like an edit to the original email. She says like edit basically like thank you for the responses. Like I've gotten replies from people from France, Israel, England,
Wow.
China, so this is going on everywhere, is what she
I
says. And
have
I'm like,
so many
damn.
thoughts.
Thoughts so far?
I have so many thoughts. Okay, first of
Okay.
all, that really, really sucks for her, going through that because I feel like I would be concerned that my husband was mentally ill, and then for her to start seeing it too, like that's gotta be a ride. It's gotta be a
Yeah.
big ride.
I mean, it's good because you're like, oh, I guess I'm not crazy. But then, I mean, really, you could think, or
Right.
maybe I am also just going crazy too,
Yeah,
like my husband.
exactly. Another question I have, I guess, is, well, I mean, they end up getting away, and like you kind of mentioned that when it was like trying to touch him, he was like grunting, but like aside from just seeing them and like feeling the fear, did they do anything to harm them? Or I guess,
I mean,
yeah.
besides the bruise, I guess not. I guess he just wanted to torment them, which is why I stick to. So this is my theory is right. My theory for the longest time it's been that shadow
Mhm.
people are just people from other dimensions that by accident or maybe because one specific place on earth, a couple of specific places on earth act as unintentional portals. These are people that by accident we can see in our dimension, but we can't see
Oh.
them in 1080p. We see them as shadows. Think of actually that movie doesn't really apply to this. Never mind. Don't think of anything. But that's what I'm thinking, and that's why they seem ominous, but they don't necessarily hurt you. I mean, the top hat man is an exception, but I think that that could really, honestly, just be something wildly different. Not even a shadow person,
Mhm.
but maybe like a demon. The fact that it has a fucking like congregation of people that talk to it, that just seems to me like I hadn't read cases like that. Yours really seems like an anomaly. But anyway, from like the more regular cases that I've read, including this one, that's the conclusion that I go to usually. It just makes sense to me.
Right.
Like maybe like sometimes they'll get aggressive and like this person in the other dimension is gonna want to like hurt the wife, and you know why? Maybe because the wife to that person in the other dimension shows up as a shadow person and they're scared of it, so they try to attack it. Like you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah, interesting.
maybe like I mean I know I don't because I've never had like anything related to like a haunting in my home, but let's say I move to a house where I start seeing shadow people and they like don't like me, maybe they hurt me, maybe it's because they see me just like I see them, but in their
Yeah.
dimension. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. But I don't know. There's something about that, and I'm normally all for the other dimension stuff, so I hate that I'm saying this, but I feel more like they're probably like demons or ghosts because
Hmm.
I feel like there's malicious intent. I think I think like there's something about that like fear that comes along with seeing them that couldn't just be someone from another dimension, if that makes sense. Like,
I think it could just be fear of the unknown. I think it could just be that it's something scary, so you're scared. I
yeah,
don't. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know though. Especially because the Hat Man, like he surrounds himself with shadow people, and that feels weird. I don't know. Then again, it's
I
it's all
guess.
probably just not real. So
Well, that's the thing. Like yours seems pretty extraordinary. I mean, you said yourself that it had some fantastical
Yeah,
characteristics, but mine, the pictures, like this picture that I described, right? Like it literally looks like just a regular guy with his hands in his jacket pockets. Um, it just seems like maybe the picture was just taken like way too dark, and it would just be like, well, rather like honestly, this picture to me would just be like a regular picture of someone in the forefront, in the foreground, which is the boyfriend, and someone in the background of the picture that due to exposure like didn't photograph well. It would look to me like that if it weren't for the fucking
right.
swirling head. So what I'm saying is that it looks pretty normal, it looks pretty human, it looks like I said, almost like it's just someone who's in their home maybe staring at this boyfriend who to them looks like a shadow person.
I guess, but why
um
wouldn't they also stare at the
I don't know.
girl? I mean, maybe they were. Maybe it's just that snapshot, but
Maybe they were. Yeah, yeah. My shadow people don't have facial expressions like yours. That's why I'm saying that it's
right.
such like an anomaly. Your case is so interesting. Um, but if I'm gonna like lean to something that's not other dimension people, I'm gonna say I wouldn't say aliens. I really wouldn't. I don't know that I'd say ghosts. I'd probably have to go with like something demonic, because yeah, like some of this does feel pretty scary and weird. Um, but again, I just don't. I don't know. Like whatever like malicious intent they have just doesn't seem that what's the word? Like that like strong or like ready to go. Like when a demon is trying to possess someone, they usually like possess
Hmm.
it, like make it known to everyone, make a fucking mess, like make you say, I mean, at least from the exorcism cases that we've like discussed here, they
Yeah.
make you say terrible things. They like I don't, you know what I mean, like they like yeah, so
I mean, I kind of want to go off tangent a little bit just because I think that this could all kind of help us figure it out. But there's something you said earlier where you were kind of just being like, oh, like, I don't know what I would do if I saw this. And that kind of got me thinking, well, what, like, is there a difference between who can see them and who can't? Like, maybe there is. Like, maybe that guy, Billy, could only see them because he's, like, more connected to, like, that spirit world or something, you know?
uh, so the second case that I'm gonna read you about might actually
Oh.
help answer that question. But before I read it, I guess I would say no. There isn't anything special. Um, like when that picture was being taken, the daughter couldn't see him, the boyfriend couldn't see him, but Billy, who had been seeing the shadow, couldn't see
Huh.
the shadow until it popped up on the picture. It could be that these things can't help
Hmm.
but show up in photos, but other than photos, it seems like maybe they can choose when they want to be seen and by who.
But that wouldn't really go in line with the other dimension,
Yeah,
though.
it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Huh.
It wouldn't.
Oh.
Um, it would be more like, yeah, like something demonic.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. The next one that I'm gonna, again, I'm saying that I usually go to that conclusion, the other dimension thing, but I'm not saying that I'm set on
Okay.
it. One, because of what I'm about to read you, like has like a spookier context, and it almost feels like malintention. And second, because this is gonna go against what I said about, oh, like no one has any special connection to them.
Okay.
So let me read this to you. This is another case also posted to this page. It's called Shadow Selfie. We stand. Um, and it's
Okay.
literally what you think it is. A shadow person took a selfie on someone's phone. Um, I love how this girl starts her email. Hi! Exclamation point. My name is Amber.
Oh, Amber, we love you.
Um, my boyfriend found this picture on his phone, like straight up, just like my brother found this picture on his phone. Here's the picture, and the picture's fucking horrifying, if I can say. Um, it is this normal ass average American teenager bedroom. The bed's messy, like it's just an average bedroom, and in the middle of it, there's just this fucking like shadow person leaning into whatever it's is photographing it, and at the same time something looks kind of like a cord or something is a cord made of shadow, a shadow cord made out of smoke, it's like attaching the shadow person's head to the ceiling
What?
of that bedroom. So yeah,
Oh my
um
god.
I know. So here's the thing, which what made me think like, oh, so like that would go with the whole thing of like they're attached to the
Yeah.
home, not the person. Um, so okay, so she says, excuse me, that her brother found this picture on his phone. She like the picture is shown. I'm just describing it to the listeners, and she says, you know, this is his room, but he has no memory of taking this picture. It freaks both of us out, and we have no idea what it could be. Like I'm asking for help. I asked him. So it's interesting. She like they say that she says that they have no idea what it is, but like the immediate next sentence she says, I asked my brother what he thought it was, and he said it was a
Right.
shadow person. So clearly the brother like knows something, has seen it before, like so I feel like he's keeping some info from the sister.
Yeah.
Poor sister, by the way. She's freaked out. Like anyway, okay. He says that he thinks it's a shadow person. Then the girl goes on to say, he said he has come into contact with shadow people before and that he has seen them face to
Face
face.
to face.
So I just feel like, yeah, this
Yeah.
brother isn't communicating something with the sister. Uh, I feel like there's no need for this girl to post this here, because if her brother wanted to, he could probably spill all the tea. He knows way more than he's letting on. So, which makes me think like maybe the brother has some kind of malicious intent. Maybe like he summoned it, which
Oh my
means like
god.
you can summon these things,
Oh my
which
god.
goes with the whole like devil thing. Well, are you gonna say something?
No, I'm just really into this.
Yeah, I know. So again, I like when he says like he has come into contact with them and he has seen them face to face. That to me doesn't sound like these things are
Oh,
haunting the brother. It seems like he is
I
interacting with
got it.
them willingly. That's what it
I
reads
got it.
like
I
to me.
solved it.
What?
Okay, first of all, the cord, the shadow cord, it's probably tethered there because he summoned it. Okay, yeah. Sorry, Amber's brother. We're coming for you for no reason. Okay,
Ooh,
I
I
got
hate
it. Are
it.
you ready? This is blowing my mind right now, but it might not blow yours. Maybe this is not cool. What if like they're
Okay.
demons that are looking for someone to possess, and that's why he was tapping on Billy's shoulder, and like that's why they stand at your bed because they want you to let them in. I don't know. You have to consent. You have
How
to
the
like
fuck do you let him in?
maybe just give in to the pain. I'm not sure.
Ooh, what if the way they try to
Yeah,
get you to consent is by whispering things in your ear that maybe you don't understand because they're in like fucking Latin, but your
and that's why they
subconscious
come to you
does,
when
and
you're at a
then they're saying
vulnerable
things like,
vulnerable
"Let me
time in your life,
let me
because
in."
that's when you're weakest and easiest to get in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Billy didn't say that
Yeah,
he was at a vulnerable time,
maybe
but
he
for
was
all we
just
know, he could
mentally
have had
ill, and
like I don't
maybe
know
they like
family
mentally ill
troubles or some
people. I don't
shit.
know.
Um,
Okay.
Interesting. Ooh, I like where this is going. Okay, let me keep reading though, because this gets better. So the sister says, is it because we can sense things others can't? We are a family of empaths, so could that have something to do with why we're seeing this? Is it because we can hear things that other people can't? Are we more vulnerable because we are empaths? Um, I'll just keep reading. So the girl says that again that she needs help figuring this
Hmm.
out. She says that she has never seen a shadow person, that she has seen orbs, auras, but never a shadow person. Only her brother has, and that she has no idea what they look like. I mean, she does. The fucking picture there. Her brother says that he. Okay, now here's the thing. Her brother says that he does know what they
Hmm.
look like, which makes sense because the brother seems like it's interacting with them, but that the one in the picture looks slightly different. Again, reminder, the brother or the sister did not take this picture. This picture just appeared on their phone, which is super spooky to me. And it seems like the shadow
Hmm.
person like just took it of themselves. Number one, why? Number two, why does this one look different than the ones this guy's interacted with? Could it be because the one he's interacted with are actually just interdimensional beings? Maybe he found a way to talk to them, realized that they're just people, and now he made some interdimensional friends. But the one in the photo is actually a demon, and that's why it looks different. Um, as to what was the number one point I made? I forgot. um,
I don't know.
Whatever. So oh, why did they take this picture? Like why would this thing want to let itself like be known? Like no, like let them know of
Yeah.
its presence. That's interesting to me. I can't figure that out.
Maybe it was just like a error on the phone and it didn't mean to be caught.
Could be, yeah. Okay, so she says, like, the sister continues to say that they can both, her brother and her, feel the energy, this weird energy when they are in the brother's bedroom, and they fear. I fear that it is studying him. From what I have researched about shadow people, when they come face to face, it's supposed to mean that they have interest in you. They usually don't like to be seen. So I want to know why she thinks that it's studying him.
Yeah.
I don't know where she got that from, but from somewhere she must have.
I feel like we're definitely missing pieces of the story.
We are. I feel like maybe it's the energy that she feels when she goes into that room that makes her think that the thing isn't there just like fucking around or even like trying to scare anyone, but rather just like patiently watching. I don't know, but she knows something clearly. She feels something. She says that, something took this picture. My brother didn't. I didn't take it. It's obviously not. Like, yeah, we didn't take it. Where did it come from? Why is it here? She mentions that she looks like something is connecting it to the ceiling. And she asks for more information because she's scared.
Ooh,
Okay, so
I have a
who replies?
wait.
Wait, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What if he took the photo of it and then said, "Hey, I found this," and what he's trying to do is make her more interested in it so that she'll get taken by it.
Ew, I hate that. That's so much. I'm gonna write that as like theory number 3. We just have too many theories. Like, I honestly, like, you're right. I feel like I'm missing pieces. Like, I just can't settle on something.
Well,
This is
this
so
is such like a
bizarre.
broad thing. Like I was saying, like shadow people could literally be anything. They could be ghosts, they could be demons, they could be aliens, they could be my soul haunting people for no
I
reason.
know
Like
they could be anything, but they are just one thing. I just can't settle on what. Um,
but what if they're not one thing? What if some of them are different? You know, like we just don't
I mean,
know.
true. I was saying that yours was really different from whatever I'm reading.
Yeah.
So, if anything, I'm almost like certain that yours is something demonic. Whereas from my cases, I'm like on the fence.
Yeah.
Anyway, the mom replies to the daughter's email. She says, like, I give permission for my like children's story to like be published here, and I also like to share my own story. She says, my family, I'm just gonna read this, it's interesting. My family has a touch of psychic abilities, bitch. Shout out to episode, what is this,
Episode
episode
3.
3. My family has a touch of psychic abilities, and closest I can find to me is an empath, where with clairvoyance I see, like, she writes this weird, but she's saying that she's also an empath, that she has clairvoyance and that she sees auras and orbs just like her daughter, and that she senses spirits, and that now she's seeing, these, dark images, these, shadow people. She says that like 10 years ago, this
Oh,
rabbit
oh
hole
man.
gets deep, Shannon. Okay, just pay attention. So she's saying that, okay, so the mom of these children is saying that she is an empath, like whatever the fuck that means, whatever, forget that. She's a psychic, basically. She has psychic abilities, which, is believable. There's people that believe that some people are just more psychically connected than others. This could be one of those people. Fine, okay. um she says that this lady says that her grandmother, who practiced Wicca, um passed away. She was 10 when the grandmother passed away, and she had a basement full of witchcraft books, numerology, and other items, including Ouija boards. The
Hmm.
kid did, the 10-year-old kid, when the lady, when she was 10, like, she collected this shit, and like, the grandmother probably like enabled her. So okay,
Ooh.
that just made me think, like, okay, what if this has something to do with
Yeah.
witchcraft? Like, what if these are just like summoned somethings? I don't know, like, what if Billy, like from the first case, what if Billy's family has a like witchcraft background they don't even know about? Like,
Ooh.
have you seen Hereditary?
Yes, I have, and I'm permanently
Yeah,
scarred for life.
that's
Thank
what
you.
I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. What if, like, there's just something that, like, it's not being, like, communicated to like this family, the first one? Um,
Right. Maybe someone in their line made a deal with something and now they're
exactly.
cursed.
I love
Yeah.
this, but I hate it also. Anyway, she's saying that she grew up. Eventually, like she got tired of this kind of shit. And she decided to like throw her shit away. She got tired of being like Wicca and emo and whatever. And she recounts this like one time that she was trying to get rid of this like one Ouija board when she was 14 and was like throwing her stuff out, and that the Ouija board like came back to her house. That she tore it to pieces. Came back,
No.
set it on fire, came back. Eventually she did something, and like it went away. So yeah.
Oh my god. That is such a good idea for next April Fool's Day. I'm gonna send you a Ouija board, and then when you throw it away, I'm gonna send you
I hate
another
you.
one. You will cry.
um yeah, so she says that. Okay, this woman then says there's a lot that she started practicing astral travel and even attempted to sell her soul at a young age. so
Why? Okay, wait, no, I kind of get it. Never
So
mind.
I mean, yeah, but also this just reinforces what I said about like maybe this is something that's summoned, and maybe it's like to do with witchcraft.
Yeah.
Um, us, by the way, astral travel has to be like a whole episode that we do because I have my
Yeah,
thoughts
for
on it.
sure.
But anyway, so she says that as for her son, he's very secretive and angry all the time and doesn't like sharing things with her, the mom, anymore. But that her daughter does, and that the daughter is like worried for her brother. The mom is also worried for the kid. Um, there's also like a third child that's 6 years old, and that 6 year old says that he can see orbs and auras too. That really has something to do with the shadow people. I think that just like reinforces the fact that maybe this woman is psychic and isn't lying, since two of her children, at least two of her children, can see orbs and auras. Maybe like psychicness runs in the family. I thought that was interesting to point out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like psychicness is an ability that is like genetic. Whatever. The point is that she says like her son is becoming like angry and secretive, and I'm thinking like, what if like the shadow? I mean, obviously, most likely the shadow person is like influencing his personality. Like maybe it's like trying to like like shove him into like this dark hole of
Maybe it's
like
already
thoughts. I
possessed
don't know.
him.
I don't know. It could be. It could be that. It could be that, and it could be that one day when he was going to school, like the thing forgot to like possess it. Like it, like I don't know, and it just like stayed in the bedroom and like hung out. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I do
You
not
know,
know.
something I kind of just thought about when we were talking about hereditary and like maybe it's a curse. What if it's not a curse? What if it's a price? Like someone traded something and then I mean that's kind of a curse too, but the price has to be paid by their children. Like
Yeah, I mean that is basically hereditary. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that movie's crazy. But anyway, yeah. I don't know, this is
Um.
wild.
Yeah. What the last thing she says is the mom says, I do house blessings. I had a Catholic priest bless the house before I moved. I have bound. I have tried to bound these things, rebuke them, and they won't go away.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
maybe it's not. Maybe it's not the devil.
Why? You think the devil would be rebuked?
I think that when like an exorcist like does the whole like holy water and the cross
That
shit,
doesn't always work,
seems to
right?
work. I mean, not always, but like I don't know. I feel like I just I don't
Maybe
know.
it is interdimensional beings, and they're just looking at it from the lens of it's evil because of their psychic background.
You know what? No, forget it. It's not, dude. It's got to be something
Okay, I
malicious.
like I've already convinced you.
Yeah, I changed my mind. No, because like with the Billy thing, like that padding, just like what the fuck did that
Yeah,
mean? Like what was that about? And two, like this like really like I got hung up on that, like that the kid is becoming secretive and angry and doesn't want to talk to the mom anymore. Like that, like this thing is like whispering something into its ear, um, into this kid's ear, you know. So for sure, so and it can be good.
yeah, no.
So I feel like it's something. It's that's the thing though. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be demonic. Um, I don't know. It's just something evil.
Um, Something I didn't bring up, like during my research, I guess in the Quran, there's mention of like a pitch black sapient beings that walk the earth. So maybe they're onto something. I
Ooh.
don't know.
Yeah.
I
You didn't bring that up before? Yeah, that sounds like something.
my notes are a mess, just like my brain. So
I'll look into that after this episode. The listeners can also do that, and if they have any ideas on what, because this is the most puzzling episode I've ever done. I really just can't settle on something. So I failed my mission. If you guys have any ideas, yeah, DM me, DM us.
one thing I want to say is I don't really know how much I buy into the whole seeing auras thing. Like I can't even fathom that. Like it doesn't make sense to me for some reason. I'm like, when you like see an aura, like are you like actually seeing something around someone, or are you just kind of like, wow, like you're a really happy person, like your aura's really like yellow. It's like okay.
Yeah, I mean that part could have just been like a middle aged like lady trying to make herself seem more credible, but that doesn't discount anything
Yeah,
that she said about her kids or like what the sister said about the brother or the photo. I mean the fucking photo, right?
true, true.
Um so yeah, I don't know.
I like how you're just stumped.
I am like I am settled. It's evil. I just don't know where it originates from because it just doesn't feel like your traditional diabolical or like demonic or whatever kind of shit. It just feels like I don't know, just very like astral,
Mm.
I guess. Like it seems it feels like evil, but cosmic evil. Like it's coming from somewhere else.
I feel like it seems really
Um,
ageless and timeless, where it's like it's something that's been
yeah,
here longer than anything else, you know?
yes, longer than if you believe in like the literal just Christian devil. Even longer than that. It feels like I know it sounds funny, but it feels like I don't know, like when people say like, oh, it's Cthulhu, or it's like it feels
Hmm,
Lovecraftian.
yeah.
It feels like it belongs to the void. Like I'm talking something wide, big, general, fucking as old as the universe itself. Like it just feels cosmic. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't feel like your typical demon shit. It just doesn't to
Yeah,
me.
also you have to like tie into the whole Christian faith thing when you do talk about the devil, because the devil and his demons are technically fallen angels, and that just doesn't feel on tangent with what we're talking about here at all. Like it's very different.
Yeah, like the way like they interact with the people, how
Yeah.
slight they are in their attacks, but still scary. Like how kind of like subtle everything is, but just like persistent. Like these things are always there. They never fucking leave, but they don't really do much. Like I just don't get it.
Well, also when you think about the way witches were said to like summon demons, like do their bidding, like the demon only talks to them and like they engage in like this deal. Whereas like if this was something that was summoned, it's not something that wants to have a chat. It's something that was summoned to do bad things and not talk about it and not.
Yeah.
It's just
Also, from
a
like the ones that I read to you, these fucking things don't talk,
yeah
right? Like
no.
I made the assumption like this kid maybe is like doing something that he shouldn't be doing. He is to blame. He's like willingly trying to like interact with these beings, but that's just my assumption. For all I know, the kid could be a victim.
Hmm.
And maybe when the sister says that he's seen them face to face, she's just recounting what the brother said. Maybe the brother just said like, yeah, I've seen him face to face and it's scary and I'm scared and I don't know what
Yeah.
to do. So yeah, boy.
Um.
I'm gonna think about this one tonight.
Oh, I had one more thing. Like the Hat Man. Like, so are we deciding that he's
Yeah,
separate? He's different? Because,
I
yeah,
that's
okay.
separate to me. That's
Yeah,
separate.
because the whole, like,
Yeah,
the talking and, like, the way he, like, smiles when you respond in a different language, that feels more devilly than Shadow people.
yeah. It has a face. It has a voice. It has a community. Apparently, that just feels different to me.
It has a community. They get together and they stand around you and shit.
Yeah, some people see it with an actual like trench coat, not just a silhouette, but like the actual thing. Apparently,
Yeah.
it's not just pure like black. So to me, it feels different. These things, and I'm seeing these pictures, right? They're made out of fucking smoke, but they have a
Hmm.
perfectly like silhouetted human figure. So
And I mean, maybe that's not to say that they can't communicate, they just don't communicate verbally. Like maybe in the way they give the bad
yeah,
feelings, the bad vibes, maybe they are saying something to you. It's just in a different way.
yeah. I mean, right, and that makes me think like, oh, what if they're just nice doppelgangers, right?
Hmm.
Like, what if they're just trying to tell you something's gonna happen, something bad's gonna happen? Um, that I guess could make sense because, like I said, they don't really
Mm,
attack people,
I mean,
and they just make you feel scared. So,
yeah, I guess. But I just feel like doppelgangers are the ones that are actually from another dimension. And those are like what we're.
is that what we settled on? Didn't we settle on like bilocation that it was really
Oh,
just
I
a
mean,
person?
I don't feel like we settled on anything, but I never really settle on any ground either. So, but and so I don't know. Because like you were just on the malicious train and now you're hopping off of it. Like what's happening?
I am committed to nothing but the truth.
Okay,
Okay, I need to explore all possibilities.
you've never
Um,
seen one of these things.
yeah. No, I've never seen one of the things. I don't ever want to see one
You
of
need
these
to open
fucking
your
things.
third eye.
My
Okay,
third
if
eye is gonna
anyone's gonna
stay
experience this,
closed.
no, you need to open her up. Give her a little massage.
She is closed and crusty and never opening. Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm gonna lean on evil. The whole like maybe they're like I don't know like omens. It's just like a thought, but I don't really like buy that much. Um.
No, I don't buy omens in general because I don't think that our fate is set in stone. So like, why would they? I don't know.
You'd also have to believe that there's something or someone in the universe that's looking out for you, that's sending out that
Right.
omen, and yeah, you might not believe that. So, yeah. Okay. Well, everyone, if you like this episode, make sure to follow us. We're on Twitter at Talk Scary. You can DM us with suggestions for next episode, or just leave us a comment if you like this one. If you want to review us on Apple Podcasts, or for that matter, any other podcast listening platform that allows for reviews, we would very much appreciate that. Again, you can listen to us anywhere. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. And if you have any suggestions for, oh, I already said that, but again, for next episode, because we're always glad to hear them, do let us know. Do DM us.
If you've
Shannon, do you have
ever
anything?
encountered a shadow person, please share your story with us if you're willing and able.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope y'all are having a wonderful rest of your week.
Yeah, don't let the bed bugs bite. Don't eat any large meals before bed. And don't get sleep paralysis. Sounds like a fucking
I
shit
don't think
show.
they have control over that, but okay.
There's got to be some medical journal that's giving people advice on how to stop it.
Eat
Because it
lots
sounds
of
like a medical
kale.
condition to me.
Yeah, it probably is.
Drink some herbal tea, relax. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Good night.
Good night.